Welcome one and all, I'm Alexis, aka the Soft Reader, and I'm here today to give you guys my March TBR. Now, I am basically intending to only read literary fiction in the month of March, with one exception that's kind of out of my control. This came about honestly because in the past couple of months I've been getting a lot of literary fiction books, and I haven't really been picking them up. I've been kind of, leaving them aside in favor of picking up more YA, and I have no intention of stop reading YA, but I would really like to get to some of these literary fiction books, hence why I'm doing Literary Fiction March. So I'll go ahead and get the one non-literary fiction book out of the way. It is an ARC I have that I'm buddy reading with like a big group of people. That is Furyborn by Claire Legrand. This is the first book in the Imperium trilogy and it comes out on May 22nd. This is one of my most anticipated releases for the entire year, so I'm very excited to get to it. This basically follows two main characters who lived like 1,000 years apart, and the first girl's story is like the story of her becoming a legendary queen, and the second girl's story is basically about her having to join a rebel group to rescue her mother after she vanishes, and it's about her learning a lot about the secrets of this empire that was built by the first narrator. I've been hearing really good things about this one, and like I said, it's one of my most anticipated releases. It's a pretty big chunker of a book, but I'm really excited to be buddy reading this. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one. The rest of the books I'm going to mention are all literary fiction. The first one is the audiobook I'm planning to listen to this month, and that is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I have actually already started this. I'm about 2 hours in. This basically follows a group of students who all are part of this elite Greek class where like they basically don't have interactions with like other students on this campus, and you're basically following them as they kind of get roped into doing like really like wrong and dangerous things, and it's like about each of their individual lives and their histories and stuff like that. And yeah, like I said, I have already started this on audiobook, but I'm definitely planning to finish this in March. The next one I'm going to mention is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm sure you have heard about this book since it's been getting so much buzz recently. I'm also planning to do a buddy read of this. This basically follows our main character Monique, who is chosen to finally be the writer of Evelyn Hugo's biography, and Evelyn Hugo is like an 80-year-old former starlet who's been married 7 times. She's bisexual, and basically Monique is being chosen to tell Evelyn's story and to finally hear this like woman's story and stuff. And yeah, it was just heard really amazing things about this one. People have been loving it, and so I'm so excited to finally get to this one. The next one I'm going to mention is another one I'm planning to buddy read, and that is The Mothers by Britt Bennett. And I'm planning to buddy read this with my friend Rami. I will leave her blog linked down below. I'll also leave Melanie's linked down below. So this basically follows a small town where a pregnancy has happened between 2 young teens, and it's basically following the 2 teens involved and then the girl's best friend as they're kind of dealing with the aftermath of this teen pregnancy and like the fallout in their town. But what really is really interesting about this novel is it's actually narrated by a group of like old women called the Mothers, who are basically like the old women of this church, and they're actually narrating the story and explaining like what actually happened between these teens. And it's a lot about community, and it's a lot about these teens as they get older reflecting on the choices they made and how their lives would have been different if they had chosen other choices. But I've heard really great things about this one as well, and Rami and I had talked about, buddy reading this a couple of months back, so we're finally gonna get to it. I'm really excited. The next one I'm gonna mention is one of my top 10 books to read in 2018, and it feels like it fits right in with this group, and that is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I cannot wait to read this book. I just know it's probably going to be something I'm really gonna love. This is obviously a take on the Iliad by Homer, which you guys know I love. Anything about the Trojan War I love, and it's really following Patroclus as he's getting involved in the Trojan War, but it also follows his relationship with Achilles. And so yes, like, If you know anything about the Trojan War, you know what kind of story this is. And just, I know so many people who love this book, and so I'm planning to read this month as well. The next one I'm planning to read is Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo, and this takes place in 1980s Nigeria as we're following our main character Yejide, who is in a very loving relationship with her husband, but they are unable to conceive a child. And so from pressures from their family, her husband decides to take a second wife to try and conceive a child. And I've just heard glowing reviews about this book from so many people I trust, and I know that this book is a lot about the culture of 1980s Nigeria. It's a lot about love and marriage and family, and a lot about the pressures we place on women. Very, very excited to get this one because, like I said, so many people I really trust have said some incredible things about this one, so I'm so excited to pick this one up. The next one I'm planning to pick up is A History of Loneliness by John Boyne. I have a couple of John Boyne's novels that I would really like to get into his writing, and this is the shortest one that I own, but this is also the one I've had the longest, and basically this follows an Irish priest named Orden, and it follows him from when he was young and he's growing up and he's entering his seminary school and he's becoming an Irish Catholic priest. And the story is also about his life after a scandal removes one of his friends from being the head priest in a community, and then Orden has to step in and become the head priest. And it's a lot about him dealing with his faith and him dealing with his relationship with the Catholic Church, but it's also about him feeling like a pariah in this community as people are losing faith in him, faith in the church. And it's a lot about him kind of dealing with all of those feelings and reflecting back on his decisions that led him up to this point. Like I said, I really want to get into John Boyne's writing. This is the book of his that I've had for the longest, so I really hope I like it because I have quite a few other John Boyne books that I'd also really like to get to. So I will be planning to read A History of Loneliness. And the last book on this TBR was the National Book Award winner for 2017, and that is Sing Unburied Sing by Jasmine Ward. So this basically follows this family, Jojo, who is 13 years old and who is biracial in the South, and his mother Leonie, as they drive to pick up the patriarch from his family once he's released from prison. And it's about their journey, but it's also about Jojo meets the ghost of a boy at the penitentiary that teaches him a lot about the ugly history of the South, kind of about legacies and the relationships between fathers and sons. This obviously has gotten very high praise given it won the National Book Award. It sounds really, really fascinating, and I love the backdrop of the South and all that I feel like the author has to say on the topic. And yeah, again, like I've just heard really wonderful things about this one, and I'm very, very excited to pick this one up. Alrighty guys, so those are all of the literary fiction books I'm planning to read in the month of March. I'm really, really excited to get to these, especially because like some of these I'm doing buddy reads for, and then some of them I picked up just because I've been so interested in reading them. And I don't know, I kind of like the idea of doing like a themed reading month. I don't think that's something I'll do every month, but I definitely like the idea of doing it here. I would absolutely love to know your opinions on any of these books, or if you have any books that you're planning to read in the month of March, I'd love to know. I upload videos on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I'll see you guys soon with another one. Bye!